I'll just sort of, so that we get a bit of engagement, give you a bit of pointers of what we look at and what you should look for in an investor. What is it that you should be querying us on? What is it that you would be looking out for yourself and your business as you look for an investor? So first of all, the capital, getting the capital, sweating it. Sweating it means if I put $1 million in your business, I shouldn't have to put it all at once. That graph of year 1, year 2, year 3, because you've been running a business on a shoestring, literally. If I come and put money into your business, if I give you $1 million, 100 million shillings, the business will not be able to absorb that. Your finance manager who's been running this business on a shoestring, or managing receivables and payables and all these things, will get spoiled with all this money. So that's not the idea. The idea is, how do I give you? I'll allocate 100 million, but how do I give you 10 million in the first 6 months, and that 10 million will go and do certain things. So if you're a bakery, you need to put in, instead of a manual, dough mixing or whatever it is, automated dough mixing with calibration. So that'll cost you 5 million shilling, and then the expert or the human resource to run it will cost you another 2 million shillings, and then but by doing that, I will get the business from a revenue or a profitability, say, of 50 million shillings immediately to a profitability of 70 million shillings, just because I've cut down or I've brought in efficiency, okay, so because of calibration. So that's what I want to hear, that I want this much money for the next 5 years, but this is how we will allocate it. Valuation is a key deal breaker in transactions. So a lot of what we were talking about in terms of DCF valuation, I want to project, and then, or the entrepreneur, as if I'm the entrepreneur, I want to project this business going forward and then bring it back, and I want the investor to pay for the value of future today. So the investor will be asking, okay, fine, but my money is going to go and build that value, so why should I be paying for it? Why should I be paying for my own value creation today? So that normally is an issue. So the way we try and solve that is put a fair valuation on the table. So don't underpay, because the entrepreneur will feel that, yes, they might get into that deal, but they might feel that you've done them in. At the same time, don't overpay. The problem with overpaying for an investor is they will whip that business, and whip you to deliver value. So if they paid 1.5 times the amount that they should have paid, that means that you will be working a lot harder to deliver that value for them. Because if they were to it's like buying a car. Immediately I take it out of the showroom, it's worth less. So my money immediately I put into your business, if I've overpaid, it's worth less tomorrow. And therefore the relationship, and that's the biggest challenge, the relationship between the entrepreneur and the investor will break down, because trying to whip at the boardroom, the only discussion you will have is how much sales did you make, what profitability did you make. There's no niceties, and you don't want that. So we try and use very simple, EBITDA multiple, profitability, operating profit multiple type. So these are your profits. This is what similar businesses are going for, and this is what we're going to pay on historical. So you can change the multiple slightly, but we don't want to use very complicated. The simpler you make it in terms of valuation, the better. So generally, when it comes to value add, and strategic value add especially, because we are not experts in the businesses we invest in, we say it's something that we can support, but then we support with expertise that we bring in from outside. On the board, for example, so we have a 5-people board. We will take one seats, you would take 2 seats because we're a minority shareholder, but then we bring 2 independent non-executive directors who have the experience to actually run this sort of business and have maybe even run this sort of business before, that has various verticals, and it's like a conglomerate type business, but then also that they've run it in this environment. So you might get an expert who's run that sort of business before, So our expertise then would be find that person, bring them onto the board. And that person is the expert, and then you maybe need another person who gives you sort of the lay of the land type expertise. He knows he has the networks, he knows how to grow these businesses locally. So it's a mix of that. A private equity fund generally would not have the expertise and experience to do that, but they will have access to many people who are able to, so if I'm running a hospital, I have no clue as an investor, what a doctor needs, what a nurse needs, I don't know, but I can bring somebody who understands that. That's how a private equity fund would do it. They would add value to you, but they're not, it's only big ones, big PE funds that will have in-house, experts in-house, yeah.